Valentina with Bigger Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to instantly spice up your beats. Like I said, today I'm going to show you one of the fastest ways to spice up your beats. And it's really easy, but it's something that a lot of people forget to do. So first, let's make a beat. So for this one, I found this sample on Splice, and this is the original sample. Love it. So I brought the sample into the quick sampler inside of Logic, which this is a part of the new update. If you have not updated, oh my gosh, you are missing out. It's so much easier to sample things with the quick sampler in the latest update of Logic. So make sure you've done that. Basically, I chopped it up into pieces. So I chopped up the sample, and this is what I came up with. So now I've got the beat down. So here's what I like to do. Once I've got a general gist of like how I want the beat to go, I just loop it and then I start writing lyrics and melodies. Once I've got the vocals how I want them, then I know exactly how I want to arrange the beat to really emphasize the vocals and also keep it interesting. And that's what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about arranging your beat, little techniques that I use to help make my songs a little bit more interesting so it doesn't feel like it's just the same beat looping over and over again. So let's get to it. Before I add the vocals, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of courses to choose from. If there's something new that you want to learn a little bit more about, Skillshare is the perfect resource to do that. It's super affordable at less than $10 a month, and honestly, it is totally worth it. Lately, I've been taking this course by a guy named Thomas, and he talks about how to be more engaging in your videos and incorporate storytelling. Specifically, he's talking about the lens of like your YouTube videos and how to make those more entertaining. There's literally an endless amount of topics that you can learn from Skillshare, and I highly recommend it. The first 1,000 people to click on the link in the description will get 2 months of premium membership for free. All right, let's get back to the video. So now it's time for my favorite part. Let's add some vocals, baby. I'm gonna add the vocals, then I'm gonna break down exactly what I did in arranging the beat to make it more interesting than just the same loop looping over and over again.
I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No. Always getting closer, you just reaching for my wallet. Shadow your intentions almost as deep as my pocket. Always saying something, but not with the words you're talking. If the world heard your thoughts, yo, your mama would be starving. Wounds don't get to healing with some flowers and some chocolate. Money don't buy happiness, but yo, you think you copped it. Keep that money flowing just like a a running faucet. Holding in your secrets, keep them folded in the closet. How could you live that way? Hiding the truth away. Behind a smile is pain, different like night and day. How could you live that way? My dad ain't living, no. My dad ain't living, no. I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No. I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No.
Everything you just heard is everything you just saw me create. Literally those like 5-6 tracks, but somehow it doesn't feel like it's the same thing looping over and over again. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I accomplished that. The reason why I like recording my vocals before I arrange is because I feel like a lot of my arrangement choices are driven by the vocal. So the first thing you'll notice here is that I have 2 different versions of the same sample splices that I actually put together. So this is the original. So here's what I did to the original sample. First, I pitched it down 1 semitone, added some RC20 just to give it a little bit more texture and make it feel a little bit more unique and a little retro, added some reverb, and then I took out some of the low end because I wanted to make sure that the bass in the sample wasn't going to interfere with my 808 later. And then I literally copied that same sample onto a different track, and in addition to all of those effects, I added another EQ, but then I added a low pass filter. So basically, essentially with both of these EQs together, only this mid-range of the actual sample is playing. And what that sounds like is like this. So in places like the verse, this works super, super well. Those high frequencies in the sample aren't interfering with the vocal and kind of gives it a little bit more of a chill vibe in the verses. So that's the first thing I did. The other thing that I did is you'll notice because these are actual sample slices, so these are like MIDI notes, because it's an actual MIDI file, I can't do like these slow down fades that I like to do at the end of things to transition. So what I did is I right-clicked on it and I hit bounce in place, and that created this other track with basically an audio file of this MIDI file. And so what that allows me to do is then you hear that like wind down that where it just kind of fades down in pitch. So how you do that is basically you go to your fade tool, which is just the shortcut is T and then A, and then it will bring up, if you're on an audio file, it'll bring up, you'll see the tool here. It'll bring this up and it will actually allow you to fade. Now, if you right click on the fade, it will either just do like a crossfade where it just, messes with the volume. But if you do slow down, it actually does this pitch effect. So now that I have these 2 versions of my sample slices, now I can do some transitions just with some easy, slow down fades between things. So for the intro, that works perfect. And at the end of the chorus leading into the verse works perfect.
Always getting closer, you just reaching for my wallet. Shallow, your intentions almost as deep as my pocket. Always saying something, but not with the words you're talking. If the world heard your thoughts, your mama would be sobbing.
Okay, so here's the next thing I did here. You'll notice the beat starts with the chorus. The temptation that a lot of people get, especially new producers, is that the chorus has to be full-blown chorus every single time it's the chorus. And you couldn't be more wrong. There's so much power in just kind of stripping down the chorus, especially at the beginning, so that every time you introduce the chorus, because it's something that repeats in the song, people will get bored of it quickly. So you want to make sure that every time you present the chorus, it has some sort of new element to it, whether that's taking things away or adding things. But you never want it to just be always hitting hard completely every single melody and counter melody and vocals and harmonies all at the same time. You want to save it so that it's special when your audience actually listens to it. So you'll notice when I first introduce the chorus, the only thing I have going on here is the sample and the kick and the snare.
I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No. Always getting closer, you just reaching for my wallet. Shallow, your intentions almost as deep as my pocket.
So here in the verse, I've introduced all of my instruments, all of my drums, all of my sample, and my 808, but I'm actually cutting it out every other bar here. It adds just this different type of energy and emphasis to the vocals to do that, rather than just having it play completely looped out.
Always getting closer, you just reaching for my wallet. Shallow, your intentions almost as deep as my pocket. Always saying something, but not with the words you're talking. If the world heard your thoughts, your mama would be sobbing.
So what I did here at the end is, now that you kind of establish this sort of like, the listener is used to having the beat cut out every other bar here, but then I switch it up and I just keep it in there. So a lot of this is just kind of like switching it up on your listener so that everything sounds a little bit new, even if it's as subtle as just like putting it in there without taking everything out. So that works really well for verses, especially in this style of music, like R&B, hip hop, that kind of thing. Then we go to the second part of the verse, and for this one,
Wounds don't get to healing with some flowers and some chocolate. Money don't buy happiness, but you think you cop.
so you'll notice I have the full sample here with only the high pass filter. Now that we've already kind of hit it hard, for the second part of the verse, I wanted to do that more like mid-range part of the sample to give more space to the vocals and kind of give the ears a little bit of a break before we build back up to the chorus. So here we have the full sample.
Heard your thoughts, your mama would be sobbing. Wounds don't get to healing with some flowers and some chocolate. Money don't buy happiness, but you think you copped it. Keep that money flowing just like a running faucet. Holding in your secrets, keep them folded in the closet.
So here's something cool that I did here. In that part where I knew I wasn't gonna have any instruments going, I added a lower octave of the same vocal. So
And folded in the closet.
gives it a little bit more of an oomph than if it didn't have it. Like, listen to this without it.
Holding in your secrets, keep them folded in the closet.
It's just not as cool. But when we add that depth, it kind of helps make up for the fact that you don't have these other instruments in there, but it's still simple enough that it's not distracting from the main vocal, which is what I'm trying to emphasize right there. That line just comes out crystal clear.
Like a running faucet. Holding in your secrets, keep them folded in the closet. How could you live that way? Hiding the truth away. Behind a smile.
So here we bring back the full sample with the high end and all of the instruments.
All this pain, different like night and day. How could you live that way? My night ain't living, no. My night ain't living, no. I ain't about checking.
Then we go back to this just relaxed version of the chorus before we go back to a full-blown version of the chorus.
Get receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No, I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for.
Again, a little audio break. So basically, I wanted to emphasize the harmonies of the vocals in that part, and I also didn't want it to feel like, man, this is just looping again. So this little break here is so powerful when it comes to the attention of your listener. So I'm gonna play this again so you guys can get an idea for it.
You pay for. No, I ain't about checking receipts, but you know you get what you pay for. No.
So you would have no idea that the same thing is playing throughout the entire song, and all that's changing are certain elements that are coming in and out, and then those low pass and high pass filters really make a huge difference, especially when you want the verse to be less in your face and more about the vocals. and then, you know, the chorus to just hit hard and have the full frequency range of the sample. There's just a couple more things I want to share with you guys. I like to add either like the kick or the 808 to kind of lead into when instruments are going to be introduced. So for example, here from the actual intro, the only thing that's playing is just the sample. But then I introduce that I'm going to be bringing in the kick and the snare by putting a buildup of the kick right before it starts. I ain't about checking receipts, but... And then I do the same thing here when I'm transitioning from the first chorus to the verse, but since the kick's already in there, that's not going to be enough of an introductory element. It's already in there. So I decided to introduce the 808 just a little bit before that bar hits. Always getting closer, you just reaching for my wallet. Shallow your intent. It's subtle, but it makes a huge difference. And you'll notice I did that here again when it goes from just listening to the vocals to then introducing all of the instruments again. Your secrets keep them folded in the closet. How could you live that way? It makes a huge difference. If I were to delete this right now and then play that again. Holding in your secrets, keep them folded in the closet. How could you live that way? It's not bad, but it's not great either, right? Like, it just adds a little bit more detail to know that you were kind of leading into what is coming next, but so quickly that, like, by the time they get that teaser, they're already in the midst of that big bang. So the last thing that I like to do to my beats is just add a little bit of audio and sound design to make things a little bit more interesting and stronger when they come through. So you'll notice I've got these chimes. Just right at the beginning, they're very subtle, but just kind of helps lure you into the beat. And then I use that again here, so I've got not just the chimes, but I've got this transition here. It just kind of builds up. And then together with the chimes. So this is the second time that the chorus is being introduced to the song. It comes in kind of at just like stripped down version of the chorus, and then it builds up to the full-blown chorus. And that's when I use these transitions just to make that hit a little bit harder. I ain't about checking receipts, but... So one thing here is you'll notice it's like the only thing playing is the sample. There's no drums or anything right before I want it to hit hard. And that's one of the best ways to create some contrast to make your chorus hit harder or emphasize something. So if it's really quiet before, whatever comes next is going to seem louder than it actually is. So rather than just like turning up your automation and your volume and all this stuff, like don't mess with that. Just mess with your arranging and it's going to make a huge, huge difference. In one, getting the attention of your audience, and two, keeping things interesting and fun and making things just hit a little bit harder. So that's it for today, guys. Like I said, this is one of the easiest ways to instantly make your beats more interesting and spice them up. Do not forget to properly arrange and put in that extra time for these little details to really make your songs interesting and energetic. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos. And of course, if you ever have any questions or want to see more content, check me out on Instagram. Keep making beats. I'm so in love.